So I have an update to the PD system like I promised, where this update there is webhook integrations, which I'll go over with you guys in a second. So as always, you start the PD, you get a print right here saying that the character got added to the webhook, which means that he's alive still. Then when we die, and then we stop it, you can see it says added to previous added to the death list, and I removed first, so he got removed from the alive status, got put into the death list, and it prints me out the current usernames. So the webhook got saved over here in Gilded. The reason we're using Gilded and not Discord is because Discord has Roblox webhooks blocked. So this is the alternative for now, and this is owned by Roblox themselves, I think. So they should always have support for it. As you can see, it says KIA, Raven is stuck, and it says alive, no one survived, basically. And then if I was still alive, it would say my username down here instead, and said no one died, basically. So the code. It's a bit complex, so bear with me. So up here, the first webhook is basically the link to the webhook, which is if you go to your server settings, webhooks, and you make one here, and you just copy the URL and you paste it in here. HTTP is basically the service, HTTP service that Roblox has. This is a table of alive players and dead players, which is empty by default, which we put stuff in using code. So okay, let's start with this line first here, because this comes after. So when the PD starts, it loops through all the players that are in game right now and inserts them into a table and prints out player's name space added. So that's basically all this does here. The PD stuff we go over after this one here. So here in PD died, so when the player dies, it goes through, it loops through the alive list, checking if there is a player by the name that just died. And if the player is in the alive list who just died, then they get removed and they get added to the dead player table, basically. There here you can see table that removed, that basically grabs the table, and then the number of where the name should be is basically the I in the for loop, which is basically an index. Then it inserts it the same index, the player's name that just died, and prints that out for you. In the PD stop is where the actual rest of the code happens for like the webhook stuff that goes into Gilded. What was up here is just the background of it. So when the PD stops, it creates two variables that are empty by default, so it's just basically an empty string for dead and alive. Here we are looping through the dead player table to check if there is any players in there. So if the I is not equal to 1, so if there is more than one index in there, so if there's two player names, then it sets a space in between the current death message, which has one name, and adds the new name with a space in between, which we do right there. There we go. Else it just puts one of the names without any spaces, or if you want you can put a slash, whatever you want. Then it prints out the value for you, which I'll take out. And then here it does the same thing as the above for loop, but instead of doing the dead players, it checks for the alive players, checks if there is more than one, and adds a space in between the names. There's a bunch of spaces here, so I'll take some out. There we go. Put one. And then if there is just one, then it just puts one. Now here it checks if the strings of data message dead is just empty. If it's like this, empty, then it displays the message as no one died. The same goes for the alive message. Checks if the string is empty. If it is, then it says no one survived. Here is where the actual webhook happens of the player, like of the actual game. So we have the content, which is basically just a title you can put above, but we do a title here, so there's no need for this. Just keep this blank. The embeds is basically the embed itself. So we have the title, which is a permanent def event has ended at ... game. Is there space in between there? Yes. So then it grabs the game's name. It's a comma there for the next line. It's displayed as title. Description, you can put something in there if you want to, but we're using fields, so no need for this. You can put whatever you want in the description, it wouldn't matter. For example, we can put in hello, and I'll show you what that looks like. The type is just a rich text. You can put whatever in there. That is a type of text you can have. So bold, you can put, well, I don't know what I think it's this, but we're gonna keep it rich. The color has to be a hex color code. So if you don't know how to get those, you can just grab any part, go to the color here, and then, okay, never mind, it doesn't give you, okay, you can just do HTML to hex color code format, and you can get that too. Now in the fields is where all the fields happen. I think you can add more than 2 fields, I'm not sure, you can test this out yourself. But the way you would do it is, you can see there's a comma at the end of the field here, which in this case is this one here, so you put a comma right there for new field. And then you just copy this contents here and just rename the name, value, and inline. So this basically is if you want this to be in a line, yes, you put this to false and false. So this one is true because it's the first one, which you want to be in a line, and then the second one is false since it's just the bottom one. If you add another one and it doesn't look right, change this to true. So what this is the name is KIA, which is basically this right here. And then we have the name, which is alive, or yeah, here's KIA. Then the data message is the value, which is this down here, my name. And then inline is just true, I believe it, so that it's all in one line, like the value is all in one line. Now, in the name here, same thing here, alive, value, data message alive, inline, false. Here, it converts data into a JSON file, or a JSON encoder, so that Discord or Gilda can read it, and then it just sends the data over to the webhook. And here it clears the data tables from dead and alive, that they're all empty, so when this gets started again, it's all fresh. So yeah, and there you go. This is the webhook integration. You can feel free to change anything. You can change this right here. You can change the title, the description, and I'll show you how the description looks actually. So if we just boot this up quickly. So if you just go to administrator, start, end. There you go. See, title is hello there. That's what the title does. But yeah, enjoy your webbook. I'll leave a link down in the description where you can download the new version. If you don't want to mess up your current PD system, make sure that the remote events are the same as the ones here, or just change them. And just put the webhook server or the webhook script in server script services, then it should all work depending. It doesn't matter how you have everything arranged. Just make sure the remote events are accessible. But yeah, there you go. Enjoy.